Did I fuck his friend? His best friend? Yes. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. Okay, listen. Let's just go ahead and jump right in because I am stoned out of my fucking mind. I'm actually hotboxing my cats right now. It's funny. I'm actually hotboxing my pets right now so that we can all eat because I've been gone all day and the thrice of us, it's time for us to eat. But really quick though, I was just thinking, right, this was on my mind. You know, I'm seeing a lot of shit, like, online. Scratch that. That's neither here nor there. Listen, let me go ahead and tell you a little story. I'm not even gonna, it feels gross. Like, it feels wrong. It feels like a lie to call him my first love, because when I actually discovered what love was, I was like, oh, no, that's not at all. No. So I would say he was like my first relation. No, because he wasn't my first relationship. But he is the person that I lost my virginity to. I met this guy junior year of high school, fucking 40 years ago, right? Which is why, like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, but I already would not give a fuck about telling this story, let me tell you. If I knew if I knew what it was that I had in me, in my brain, or in my fucking plasma, or wherever the fuck it may be, I have, like, this awesome fucking ability to just, like, not give a fuck. What anyone has to think, because here's the thing, I can only end up with one person. And if someone is genuinely my person and they're meant to be my person, they're not gonna give a fuck about my sexual history or lack thereof, quite honestly. And I really think that that's why my current partner and I are not, I don't know, I feel like he looks at me like I'm so fucking inexperienced. And I mean, compared to him, yeah. But I'm also like a fucking 60-year-old who has not ever been, like, I'm incredibly sexual, but it's more of a, I don't even know, it's like an embodiment of sexuality. I don't even know how to fucking explain it because I'm so fucking high. And even if I wasn't, I don't think that I would be able to, like, focus long enough on anything to be able to really figure out what the fuck it was that I was saying when I say that I am more, anyway. But, like, penetration, like, I don't fucking need that. I don't. Like, I'm just a pillow princess, if there ever was such a fucking thing. I mean, wow. Like, I've lived. But compared to him, I am sexually inexperienced. This is not the point of the story. Listen, if this is the first time that you've ever heard anything that I've done, understand that I'm stoned. Anytime you hear me, I will be stoned, only because I feel like it's the only way that I'm in a position to present my most authentic and genuine self. If I'm sober, I'm thinking way too fucking much. If I'm stoned, I'm just gonna say what the fuck, like, crosses my fucking brain. And it is what it is. Like, this is a stoner in real lifetime. Anyway. So I was dating this guy, right? He was like this, like, my first relationship. He was the first boy that I thought that I was in love with. The boy that I was with previously, I didn't even see him enough to really feel like he was a boyfriend. It was really just like a title. But with this guy, like, I went to school with him, so I would see him every day. And so, like, he would pressure me every day into, like, hugs and shit and fucking eye contact and fucking communication. You know, all the things that, like, make us young teenage girls freak the fuck out. Like, things that, like, we just cannot handle. Which is really, and this is an entirely different fucking video, but which is really the reason that they tell you to wait to have sex. That's really the only fucking point, is that you are not mentally or emotionally prepared to deal with comes with having sex, right? When you're a kid and you're jumping into sex, you're already fucking confused, right? You're already a dumb fuck. So you don't know what emotion is what. You're learning yourself. So it's easy to confuse like those sexual urges with love. They are not the same fucking thing. They are, and I have to explain this to fucking women my age in their fucking 60s. They're not the same fucking thing. But anyway, so he's the first person that I thought that I was in love with. He ended up taking my virginity, and really the only reason that he got my virginity was because, like, it was senior year in high school. I was feeling peer pressure. I was like, yo, I'm getting ready to go to college. Like, let me just go ahead and get, swear to God, bro, on everything. I was just like, let me just go ahead and get this over with. Like, let's just get it the fuck out of the way. Because it was my first penis. It was the first penis that I'd ever seen in real life. I was 17 when I'd seen it for the first time, because he'd attempted to take my... He'd attempted to... And look, he just didn't know. He attempted to coerce me into like sexual intercourse by giving me oral sex, but he doesn't understand that I had long been fixated on oral sex, and like that wasn't gonna convince me to like give it up. Like, he was gonna give me head and he was gonna get the fuck out. Like, even at 17 I was like, nope, no dick, thank you. But, because I've been reading Cosmopolitan since, like, it fucking came out, right? Anyway, so, like, you know, so, like, it was really just, like, a thing to just, like, get it over with. So, really, I met this guy in the 11th grade. I was a transfer, and I was new, so he was, like, all over me. He's like, oh, you know, fresh fish, basically. Because unbeknownst to me at the time of our introduction, he'd already fucked everything in the school. Like, I had no idea at the time. But, like, as time went on, I would hear more and more, like, I was sitting in fucking class. We were, the one class that he and I had together. This other girl, she sat down next to me, swear to God, bruh. Sat down next to me, and she goes, oh, yeah, so-and-so is trying to talk to you, huh? Did he tell you that, like, we had sex? I mean, it was, like, no big deal. Like, he came over to my house, and then we went into my parents' bedroom, and, you know, we had sex, and it only lasted a few minutes, and it was so funny because, swear to God, this is what she's saying to me. It was so funny because, like right when I came, like, I started to fall asleep, and he was like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get out of here because, you know, lunchtime is almost over. And this is the 11th grade. And look, I was a big motherfucking talker. But really, it was, I really just wanted to get it. I wanted to see what the fuck the hype was. My mother had long talk. I think my mom told me when I was like 14. She was like, listen, sex is overrated. She said, I know that curiosity is going to get the best of you. And, you know, like, when it does, you want to talk about it, I'm here. Protect yourself. Make sure you use protection because But I very clearly remember her saying, this shit is overrated. How right the fuck she was, right? Anyway, so that was basically what it was. I knew in 11th grade that he was fucking everything. Saw his penis for the first time in the 11th grade. I thought it was a big penis at the time because it was the first penis that I'd ever seen in real life. However, I later found out it is in fact one of the smallest penises I'd ever seen. But because, you know, I still had not ever been, I know that's, you know. Anyway. So, you know, because I was so fucking young, I was 18, it was senior year, I'd already been accepted into college. We ended up boning for the first time. It lasted I feel like I'm being incredibly generous when I say that it lasted all of 2 minutes. I'm being incredibly fucking generous, because I swear to God, I hit him with is that it? And he kind of showed who the fuck he really... It was weird. He showed what a fucking weirdo he was when he got, like, upset. And I was like, why are you upset? And then I realized that as he was thrusting... he attempted to put on a big show by pulling all the way out, which for him, you know... Again, this is one of the smallest penises I've ever seen. And I'm 60, you know, so I've seen at least, you know, I've seen about a dozen. So, you know, it's one of the smallest penises I've ever seen. He pulled out. But when he pulled out, he came. Well, in the condom, of course. He pulled out, he came. And I was like, why are you upset? And he kind of like started to whine. He was like, because I wanted to come when I was inside. And I was like, what the? It was my first, I was just like, so, I was like, what? Anyway, I say all that to say, like, can you get an idea of just like how god awful he was sexually? Like, he had a small penis. He like lasted all of 2 minutes. He was a liar. He was just a fucking sexual deviant. He'd fucked everything. And so sadly, because I was 18 and too young, I ended up thinking like, this is love. It was not. But I was like, this is love. Yeah, like, I love you. This is love. I love you. Do you love me? I love you. You know, this feeling. That feeling was like desperation. I can say that now that I'm 60. That feeling was fucking desperation. Like, when you're a kid, like, you want to feel validated so fucking bad because you're supremely immature and you need that validation. It doesn't really matter who the fuck it's from. And so ended up like, you know, like, so ironically, right, because I was like thinking like, I had applied to so many fucking schools and I had gotten into a handful of them, and I'd found out that he had gotten accepted to the same school I would, but you know, like, they had a bunch of their like pamphlets and stuff in the school, so a lot of us had heard about the school and several of us had applied. And they were recruiting for football, so again, I wasn't surprised, but he'd ended up getting accepted to this school. So I'm like, okay, we're going to the same college. Like, I'm not gonna freak out, right? Because like, we're going to the same college, and it would be great if you know, like, by some kind of fucking form of magic, you know. I was so fucking delusional, bruh. That's like when they tried. That's when it had been beat into my head that, oh, you know, you have to be careful with the number of sexual partners that you have. Oh, you got to be careful because you don't want to have a high number because you don't want to meet this great guy and then he finds out that you have a high number and he doesn't want you. Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. Let me tell you, I could have triple my actual fucking number. And a motherfucker's not gonna bat an eye. Are you the one that's for me? Are you fucking kidding me? The one that's for me is not a judgmental fucking asshole, because the moment that I see that, I'm not interested. Are you fucking kidding me? And again, I'm a pillow princess, so like, I'm really like taking, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not giving me head, why are you talking to me? Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna, like, who the fuck? Anyway, again, this is when, like, you know, they're trying to beat it into your brain that, like, guys have all the power, and then you eventually hit an age where you're like, guys can suck my fucking dick. Like, especially the fact that I don't even need dick. Like, are you kidding? Like, that's the, like, I could and that's why I try not to be judgmental of, like, the young girls who I hear, not even young girls, but like the females and the women and the girls that say, oh, you know, I love dick. I love dick. I love dick. I don't understand. Like, you guys are the lucky ones who must come across like this phenomenal fucking dick, because I just, it doesn't exist, right? And don't get me wrong, I've had good dick. I've had what I would consider as good dick. I've had great dick. As a matter of fact, you know, the asshole that I'm going back and forth with, he's the greatest dick that I've ever had. But what sucks is that he also has like we also have some of like the craziest fucking energy. Don't worry. I know what it is. I know what it is, and he knows what it is, and that ain't happening. It ain't happening. But so anyway, we ended up going to the same school, and I'm just like, oh, you know, this is great, because, you know, like, maybe we can build off this, and maybe this can turn into love. Like I say, I was delusional. It did not turn into love. What's super fucking crazy though is that we ended up going to one of his like family events. It was like somebody's birthday or some kind of dinner or some shit, and it was his family, and he ended up his mother actually invited me to come to the thing. And so we're like, okay, we'll go ahead and make a cameo, because he didn't want to, like, nobody wants to be around a bunch of fucking old people when you're 17, 18, 19. You don't want to be around old people. So we went, and he like introduced me to like his family, and they're like, oh, no, 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 and you're the one, no, 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 no. And I knew that they were full of shit, because his mother had already at that point called me the bitch that he was fucking with. She'd already called me her name like 3 or 4 times. So I was like, y'all can eat a dick. Like, I'm not falling for none of your foolery. Like, I know by now that he's a whore. Like, he was a whore, bruh. But this was, I don't know, bro. Like I say, I was delusional. So anyway, she makes the comment to him, which I found so fucking funny. She makes the comment to him. She goes, it comes out that she's like, oh, like, are you guys going to college? Where are you guys going? And it comes out, that we are going to the same college. And then she goes, oh my God, no, you don't want to settle down with her too fast. Da, da, da. And it got quiet because the other adults in the room are looking at her like, bitch, why the fuck would you say that in front of this young lady? Like, why the fuck? She's not ratchet at all. She's so sweet and she's well-spoken. I was very vanilla. I was 18 years old. They're like, later, her like, bitch, why? And at the time, I was just like, why would you say that? But just as quickly as I thought that, I was like, hold up. I might not want to be with, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't really want to be with this. But little does she fucking know, she was only doing me a favor. Like, knowing then what I know now, I should have just been like, oh yeah, okay. Like, it would have been so fucking easy to just not even bat an eye. Like, bitch, eat a dick. Like, anyway, so we end up going to the same college, and I'm thinking like, hey, I might be one of those commodities who only has one sexual partner, and wouldn't it be great if I met my husband in high school? That fucking retarded ass, delusional ass fucking fantasy. And so, anyway, we end up going down to college, and it comes out that he's been doing a bunch of fucking dirt to me, bruh. Like, he's just been fucking everything on campus, and it was a small campus because it was an HBCU. So everybody knew everybody, and everybody knew that he was fucking everything. And I'm just so like, I'm in college, and life is great, and I'm making friends. And I was really just like so involved in making my own, friend group, that I really just like, I wasn't just like in his shit like that. I wasn't in his face like that. And, it came out that he had just been out there just wilding, bruh, just like fucking everything, just everybody, bruh, just out there, just giving dick, just laying pipe, bruh. Had the motherfucker. Anyway, so he had this friend. And I've been talking way too fucking long, like already almost 20 minutes. So he had this fucking friend, this really good friend, who I also met in the 11th grade, because I was a cute girl, and let me explain the kind of guy that he was. He'd been bragging to his friends, yeah, I'm gonna get that. He was one of those kind of motherfuckers, right? Who just thought that he just had the gift of gab, and he just had the charm, and he was just a player, and he was gonna, take my virginity, and he would be the one to, and he was just bragging. So they knew the dirt that he was doing, and they knew that I was just the fucking number to him, and I didn't know. But one of his friends, the most shy one, he was definitely the most shy one, ended up taking a liking to me. And he had begun to, and he went to a different school. He did not go to our school, but we all lived in the same area, the same community. He ended up taking a liking to me. Like he was just like, wow, bro, like, you're so, he was just like, man, like, because I would catch him giving me like these weird, like, lingering looks, like, kind of like, oh man, like, you're so, like, I feel so bad, like, he's playing you, like, he's doing you so fucking dirty, and I wish that I could tell you what the fuck is going on, but technically my loyalty is to this motherfucker, and there's nothing that he's like, but I want to tell you so, and I could just see it in his face, and there would be times that I would say things, and he would get quiet because he didn't want to say too much and dime out his friend. Like, he had that kind of loyalty to his friend. They were the best of friends. Now, he had a group of best friends, 3 males that he was close to in particular, all equally, I would say. But so anyway, So he ended up taking a liking to me, and so we were just cool. Like, if I needed something, I would call. I was like, it was just the most fucking innocent of things, right? And you could tell that he was trying to do right by his friend by not engaging with me too much, but he didn't want to ignore me. And so anyway, it ended up coming out that he'd done all this shit to me, and I ended up running. And so, things did not work out well for him at our school. Karma ended up catching up with him because he's just a shiesty motherfucker. And he ended up going through so much, not only legal drama, but campus drama, that he ended up having to leave college. He had to go to a different school. And that was, I believe, my junior year. He had to go to a different school. So it ended up coming out, after he left, of course, after I totally it was done. He ended up calling me a bitch one day while we were out and about, and I told him, I said, stop the mother. And I'm so fucking dramatic. I was good for jumping out of a motherfucking car. Like, I don't know how the fuck I did not get hit by, like, I don't know how the fuck. I wouldn't be surprised if my story ended up, I'm not even gonna jinx myself like that. But I mean, like, I was good for jumping out of a car, and I told him, let me out of the motherfucking car. And he was so tired of me, like, threatening to get out of the fucking car, that this motherfucker throws on the brakes in the middle of fucking traffic and says, fine, get out. You want to get out? You want to get out? Then fine, because you're just being a bitch. And I was like, oh, yep. And so he threw on the brakes. I hopped out that motherfucking whip. He was like, what? But he couldn't. I mean, shit, you call my bluff, get the motherfucker on. So cars are honking at him, and, everybody's braking for me. So I cross this big-ass fucking street, call my best friend at the time. She ends up picking me up, and she's irritated because she's trying to pick up her boyfriend from the fucking airport. And so she ends up, be nice over there. So she ends up coming to pick me up. So anyhow, he just so ended up hitting me up that day. And I told him what happened, and he's like, man, I got a story for you. He's like, let's kick it. So we decided that we wanted to go ahead and just do a smoke sesh, and that we would order a pizza. So he's like, come on over to the crib. So no, he was like, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up on you, because we had to make a stop to get the shit. Then we picked up the pizza, and then we went to his house. So we're there talking, whatever, just catching each other up, because it had been a while since we'd smoked. We hadn't smoked together since prior to leaving for college, and that was like one big ass smoke session. No, that's not true, because we had smoked one time prior to. So one time prior to that reunion, we'd only, that was when we smoked, just the two of us. We ended up bumping into each other. He was like, yo, I got some shit out in my truck. You trying to blow one right quick? I was like, yes, absolutely. So we went in there, we smoked a blunt, and went about our separate ways. It was just super, like, just, anyway. So, I forget what I was saying. I'm smoking, and I'm so high right now. So anyway, we end up going back to his crib, we smoked good, threw the pizza in the oven. I love doing that shit. It's my favorite, but most owners do. Threw the pizza in the oven. We got to talking, catching up. He's like, bro, let me go ahead and tell you what the fuck went down. Basically, he tried to make a name for himself in the drug game. He immediately realized it was a dumb decision, but he'd watch too many movies and was like, yo, this is something that I can do. Very quickly realized that he wasn't really about that life. But anyway, when he attempted to do it, it was something that he was, terrified to do initially. It was something that he was investing all his money in at the time, to get product. He ended up telling so-and-so, because again, they're the best of friends. He ended up telling so-and-so what he had going on. He's like, oh, go ahead, put me on too. So he put him on. He ended up, he ain't had no motherfucking money. That was the thing. He had no motherfucking money. It was all Billy's expense until this, anyway. So he puts up all his money, and then doesn't get the return for his product. So he's like, man, what the fuck? Like, you don't have what the fuck? You don't have a product. You don't have the money. What's going on? He basically ended up telling him, oh, well, I was robbed and I was beat up, blah, blah, blah. He was just a motherfucking liar, bro. Don't even get me motherfucking started on the story that he told me when he fucking disappeared out of town for motherfucking 4 days straight. It just so happened to be fucking Valentine's Day weekend. Don't even get me started on that crazy bullshit that he told me then, that I ended up believing like a fucking dumb anyway. But I was a kid, I was a baby, and I had not yet fucked him. So I was just like, oh. Anyway, so he ended up fucking him over on this deal. And he was like, it was just really, really fucked up because I lost out on money. He said, I was trying to get money for school. I ended up losing out on money. He said, I won't ever do that shit again. And I said, you won't ever do what again? You won't ever trust that motherfucker again? Or you won't ever invest, in a drug game? He said, neither. He said, I won't ever do that shit again. He said, I thought he was my boy. He knew how hard. He knew that I was doing everything by myself. He knew that, out here doing this grown man shit. He wanted to. Anyway, so we were just, so I ended up telling him all the shit that was going on and all the shit that I found out. And he was nodding along to everything, bruh. He could fill me in on every fucking story. Every time I told everything that I fucking told him that I found out, he's like, oh yeah, I remember that night. That was the night that we all Oh yeah, I remember that day. Oh, I remember he was I was driving him around when he was on the phone with you that day. I remember that conversation. I mean, it was just fucking. He knew all the names, of course, of all the other young ladies that he'd been smashing, because I'm sure that he was lying to them also. But he just, I was just like, bruh. And he was like, but how do you really feel about it? I was like, I mean, part of me is hurt because it would be nice if he was as loyal to me as I felt like I was to him. But at the same time, like, I knew he wasn't shit. Like, I knew in high school that he wasn't shit. I just thought that, I could go ahead and we all do this shit. This is why I'm so fucking patient. And I try so hard not to rush to call young dumb bitches. Because I'm sorry, we all go through our young dumb bitch phase. We all do. We all go through our young dumb bitch phase. All of us. It's like a rite of passage. Like, that's one of the hardest fucking lessons. We all have to go through it. A lot of us go through it more times than honestly necessary. Because we don't learn from the first fucking time around. But anyway, because I've been talking too fucking long, I'm gonna keep this bitch under 30 minutes. We're gonna dead this shit. We're gonna get the fuck out of here. But so anyway, yeah, and he was like, yeah, and the shit. Listen, there's always gonna be a certain energy, a certain chemistry that you feel with certain people. I don't drink because I feel like drinking impairs my judgment. I know that drinking impairs my judgment. I know that I am liable to do things under alcohol that I would not normally do under any other circumstance. But I know that with marijuana, it's something that I'm very much aware, right? I'm aware. It's just that it's very opening, it's very freeing, and so it allows more of me to flow what I consider to be more effortlessly, right? So we were very fucking aware. He's like, hey, do you want to drink? Nope. I told him what it was. He's like, that's right. I forget that, you never did. Whenever they would go ahead and sneak their little beers and whatever, they would go ahead and have, sneak their little lick. I wouldn't ever partake because I knew I come from a long line of fucking alcoholics, bruh. So I know what the fuck it is. Yeah, but, long story short, we ended up fucking that night. Wow. I was young, but I remember saying, like, oh my god, like, this is what the fuck it should feel like to fuck somebody. Like, this is what it should feel like. His friend, bro, was doing it all wrong. Fucking loud ass garbage truck. His friend, bruh, was doing it all fucking wrong. It was just, and it was so, I'm not gonna say that it was romantic, because it wasn't, but it was very intimate. Like, he was very in tune with me. Like, he was very much a giver. Very much. Probably top 3 best head moments of my life. Top 3. Depending on the day. Top 3. Because, I'm not going to really stop to compare it. But I know he's motherfucking up there. I know that when I think of the best head that I've ever had in my life, there's Bae. And, like, for real. Even though I don't fuck with him no more, there's Bae. There's Billy. And then whomever, that third spot, it depends on the day. That third spot is random as fuck. But yeah. The dick was great also. The dick was great. That's why I say I've had great dick. I see how, like, I can make the argument for someone losing their fucking mind. Like, I get it. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end it here. My whole point was that was how it happened. That was why it happened. Do I regret it? Absolutely fucking not. I don't think that we fucked after that. If we did, I can't remember. We did. We fucked one other time after that. And by then, it was kind of like, we were just kind of, I don't know. It wasn't as good as the first time, but we didn't have as much weed. So, anyway, I'm out.